The instruments that make up an orchestra are divided into 4 different groups, and they sit in a half circle. The string family sits in the front. You can see them in the red color. Behind them sits the woodwind family. You can see them in the yellow color. Behind the woodwind instruments, you can see the brass in green. And behind the brass sit the percussion instruments, here in purple. Every family includes different instruments, and we will have a different lesson for each family. Today we will take a look at the string family. On the left side you can see the violins, divided into 2 groups, first violin and second violin. The first violin players play the same part, and normally the second violin players play a different part. Next to the second violin, you can see the viola. It might seem identical to the violin, but it's a bigger instrument. We will hear an example of those 2 playing together in a few minutes. Next to the viola, you can see the cello, and behind the cello, you can see the double bass, which looks like a bigger cello. Which instrument would play the higher notes, the violin or the double bass? Listen carefully. I'm sure you will know the answer after listening to this short example. Of course, the double bass can go lower, since it's a bigger instrument. All these instruments have 4 strings, and that's the reason we call this family the strings. All these instruments are played with a bow. Moving the bow on the string makes the string vibrate and the sound can be heard. Here you can see the bow making the string vibrate in a very slow motion. When it's at normal speed, you cannot notice it as clearly as you can right now. This same system works for all string instruments. The string players can also play without a bow, with the help of their fingers. We call this technique pizzicato, again a word in Italian that means to pinch. Sometimes the composer writes pizzicato for all the strings in the orchestra. Let's hear a beautiful example of this technique played by the whole orchestra. Let's move on and try to see the difference between a violin and a viola. You can see the violin on the left side and the viola on the right side. The violin is smaller, and you will hear that it plays higher notes, while the viola is bigger and plays lower notes. Their big brother is the cello. The cello can play even lower notes than the viola, since it's a bigger instrument. Personally, I just love the cello with its warm sound. I can listen to it for hours. The biggest instrument in this family is the double bass. It is so big that many times people play it standing up. Let's listen to some notes from a concerto for double bass. Do you remember what a concerto is? A musician playing his or her instrument stands in front of the orchestra and plays the solo part, while the orchestra is playing the accompaniment, the tutti part.